Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson smacked the New York Giants upside the face, and we're going to recap it beautifully with a special guest. It's time to roll, baby!
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
That intro gets me fired up every day. The only thing that gets me more fired up is Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers highlights, which we're going to get to here on the show. Hey, everybody, my name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast, people. And let's bring in our special guest, Goldilocks superstar co-host of all things the TOJ podcast. He's got a new NFL podcast with Mike Giardi, formerly of the NFL Network. I mean, this guy is just doing everything. Let's bring him in the friggin' building. Will Parkinson, baby. Good morning, Will.
Dude, the new intro is awesome. I was jamming. I don't know if you saw me in the background.
Yeah, I saw that. A lot of head bopping. I'm like, okay. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, you do something, whether you're a movie director and then you're watching people watch your movie for the first time and you're getting some ooh or ah. You're like, yeah, baby.
I was rocking and rolling. That was awesome. It's a good little beat you got going on right there.
Yeah, there you go. It's nice. You know, we had to cut it back. I love the Connor Rodgers one and Trevor Sikkema, the one we had before. A little lengthy. Gotta cut a little off the top. More is less.
Gotta keep him engaged. Gotta keep him ready to roll.
Exactly. And that music gets me fired up every time. And like I said before, the Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers highlights. Here's just one. I just have to show it. I have no other choice. And from what I understand, you guys are going to watch the quick video right here. From what I've been told by the media, this was a 55-yard bomb that Aaron Rodgers just cocked back and said, Geronimo, poo, and then right into the breadbasket of Garrett Wilson. Look at this ridiculousness. Come on. Look at that. Just like bomb dropping.
Could not have thrown a better ball.
Yeah, like, that's ridiculous. And then the giant defender flopping.
One lost art there is we see a lot of people, and not to get too nerdy here, but a lot of people as a receiver, like when you're running a go ball, you want to stack a DB so you have space there, right? Like Garrett Wilson stacks him. And then Rodgers can throw him open towards the sideline. If you get too close to the sideline, that ball's out of bounds. So it's just something to like. Garrett's always been really good, right? Like he was obviously a top 10 pick in the draft. He was also in Ohio State. He's been awesome with the Jets, rookie of the year, all that stuff. But like the little details this year, I feel like in the route running, he was obviously always a good route runner. They've become like special. And again, stupid example, it's a go ball, but like they're like this, right? He comes off the line and he's outside release, free release, the whole thing. Like he could just naturally, your body is going to tend to like go one way. And Garrett's so disciplined, he stacks them and gives Rodgers so much space to be able to throw that ball perfectly, not to be able to not have to break stride and obviously get in the end zone. So just like a nerd thing there, but like that is literally picture perfect offensive line play, quarterback play, receiver play, all in one play. And it's obviously a beautiful highlight to start the morning.
There's no question about it. It just, and I think you do this all the time, and I love it. Like, because first we see normally the written, although this was a joint practice show, we got some fan clips sooner than we normally would. But I always see you say that Jet highlight clip is going to hit like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's going to get locked. And that one, I knew the second you see the tweets of, 55-yard bomb or whatever it may be. I'm like, all right, well, when we get the clip, when the clip comes out for this, the Jets page will get millions of views. There's no question about it.
And I do want to show another angle of this. So obviously Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers deserve a ton of credit because, Aaron Rodgers still can sling it. I know there's a lot of people overreacting to 11 for 27 the other day. Oh, he fell off a cliff. See, the Jets sack, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe how many people went to their shows and channels and made an actual video reacting to that, which was nonsense. So I'm glad that we got this yesterday. But another angle, shout out to a fan. Let me make sure. A Grand Central Fantasy. He was out there in the stands watching this Jets-Giants joint practice. He had another angle of it, which I think we should throw up on the screen to give some love.
Oh!
and try to see if we can replay it again. Just watch Tyron Smith. Look at the protection for Aaron Rodgers. This will, my goodness, this year. I mean, come on, baby. You're carving a turkey in September, for God's sakes. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, Tyron's awesome, man. And I talked about this with Zach. The pod will come out and probably as soon as the show's over last night. But Tyron's been awesome, man. And like, he's honestly practiced more than I expected him to. Again, does he practice every day? No. But like, I frankly didn't think we'd see him at all summer. And we've gotten to see him a pretty good amount, especially for Tyron Smith. And looks great. There's no question. It's obviously always been about health with Tyron Smith. Like, I'm not saying he's going to play 17 games now just because he had a decent summer, but he still looks awesome. He was an all-pro last year and doesn't look like he's lost a step. That's Tyron's signature snatch trap technique that he's done for his entire career. And like, I don't know, it makes you excited from a couple of reasons. Obviously this year from a Tyron Smith perspective, but Olu Fashanu is already a really good pass protector, like league-ready pass protector coming out. Sitting around Tyron Smith and letting him teach him that is going to be pretty special. And again, I'm not trying to I don't want to like overhype Olu as he's been an NFL player for 5 weeks of real practice. Like, you know what I mean? We haven't even seen him in a real game yet against one, all that stuff. But like, that stuff's valuable, man. And like, the Jets just have not had a chance to really they've done it in some spots, but generally speaking, you know, even I think of like a Quincy and CJ, where like Quincy is able to learn so many different things from CJ, which has taken him from a sick athlete that can boomstick people every other game to like a consistent down in, down out player. I just feel like that part of Tyron Smith and the offensive line in general, even if it's a Joe Tippmann being around a Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith, or, you know, AVT getting to learn some of these different things, or, you know, even a John Simpson who like clearly was around as veterans last year in Baltimore, and it took his career from a guy who might be out of the league in 2 or 3 years to like getting paid a decent starter size salary at guard. So yeah, the offensive line in general has looked really good. And again, like if you give Rodgers will protect them somewhat in terms of the quick game and things, but those big deep shots and Rodgers creating, there was one play down by the goal line, Alan Lazard as well yesterday, where like vintage Rodgers looking around, buying himself a little time, and then throws an absolute C to Alan Lazard in the back of the end zone. You're like, damn, man, like just keep him, get 14, 15 games out of him. I'm not, you know, Rodgers generally has usually either played like 17 or missed like a huge chunk of time. He's not really like a miss a week guy. He's usually like, he plays through as much as he can. He didn't miss any time and had a broken thumb and like torn up ribs. Like, you know what I mean? And he came back mid game with a torn MCL. Like, this isn't a guy who like just goes out lightly. So yeah, I don't want to get too excited sometimes about joint practices and stuff, but all things considered, yesterday basically was their last true like hard. I mean, yes, Friday they'll have a big practice, and then maybe Monday, depending on kind of cut down day. But other than that, like camp's kind of almost here and almost done, and they're finishing on the right notes and getting healthier on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, and again, we have Will friggin' Parkinson here. Look at this golden bastard, for God's sakes. He could be on, like, The Bachelor or something, yet he's spending his time here, gracing us with his Jets knowledge and insights. And, Will, you know, I don't know what your take is on this, but it's kind of nice to see the Jets pistol whip a team that clearly is lesser. Like, all of these joint practices, for that matter, you know, you're playing the Washington Commanders, with all due respect, are rebuilding. The Carolina Panthers are attempting to rebuild. The Giants are in the middle of whatever they want to call whatever they're doing. Like, you want to see the Jets come out and flex, because there have been joint practices in Jets yesteryear where they were the ones that are getting smacked and pushed around. So when you play these lesser teams, it feels important to flex on them. Yeah,
I talked a little bit about this on one of the pods. I don't know. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like you do like 8,000 shows. You don't even know who you told what to and what show.
Yeah.
But I talked a little bit about this. I think the one disappointing thing, again, the Jets weren't bad in Carolina by any means. You know, CJ Mosley's talked a little bit about, you know, traveling down there, it's hot as balls, and like you have no time to warm up, and you're in this, you know, you're in a practice facility as a visiting team, and so there's the whole concepts are weird. But you know, I felt like the defense kind of not at peak defense, and like the offense had some nice moments, but the Jets didn't look great. Like Washington, they throttled them even with Tyrod and no Rodgers. Carolina was fine, not great, better than last year, but not, you know, special.
Right.
And then this was a perfect opportunity of like, hey man, bad Monday practice, off a couple of days off. end of camp. It's like you're almost there, but you're still full pads hitting each other and the whole thing. Giants coming in, haven't beaten the Jets in, since Obama's first term. And like no one, every Giants fans seem to forget that. And then we're like sitting there and I'm like, damn, like, I hope this isn't a letdown day. I hope this is like a punch them in the mouth. And yes, Daniel Jones was quote unquote efficient. From my understanding, I don't think he threw the ball more than like 10 yards, only a few times. It was like a lot of check down.
That's correct.
A lot of Charlie check down, a lot of conservative stuff on offense. And the Jets offense, I felt like Giants do have some talent on defense. The secondary is a bit of a mess, but up front, like Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau are like no joke. Dexter Lawrence,
come on, man.
Unbelievable player. Like even some of the linebackers there, that's a pretty solid unit, I should say. And they seemingly throttled them. And like, again, it's practice. I understand, but to end like the ones competitive against another color before they play San Francisco, kind of part of camp, to go out there and leave like a really good performance, whether it's the offensive line, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and especially the quarterback, you kind of feel pretty good about yourself going into, again, they'll have a pretty intense practice, I'm sure, tomorrow from a one's perspective. Saturday, obviously preseason game, which will be a lot of what we saw in Carolina, mostly in the second half. I don't even think we'll see a ton of Braylon Allen. Like I don't think you need to see a ton of those guys. And then we're cut down day and we're off to the races. We got then 10, 15 days until San Francisco.
Yeah, and I want to just address what you just said at the end there, because to me, what the practice meant yesterday of, again, smacking around Big Blue, well, that means there's absolutely no chance that any of the Jet starters are playing on Saturday. That's what I think it meant. I think there was a chance if somehow, again, to your point, like Carolina was fine. It, again, better than last year, but it was just, nothing to write home to mama about. But like, if they looked like that again against the Giants, you could make a case for, okay, let's shake a little rust off and play in this Giants preseason power for a drive or two just to make yourself feel good. But I feel like after that, after that abuse, after that harassment that took place at Florham Park, that probably guarantees we're not going to see any of the guys. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would be utterly shocked. I didn't expect them to play at all preseason. Going back to early in camp, I talked a little bit about this, and when the pod comes out, me and Zach talked a little bit about it. Rodgers made some comments this week. This has been the most intense camp in a long time for me, and it's true. He said he's taken well over 300 more reps than he took at this point last year. It's not just about the reps the Jets have taken. I mean, these practices have been long, man, and they've been really intense. Like not every day, again, not every single day of camp. It's not the 2-a-days, 3-a-days that used to have, and stuff. But I've talked about this. Me and you talked about this maybe in like February or January on your radio show about how camps become the Jets' whole goal the last couple of years was like no one injured in camp, right? And then the problem was as you get into the season and the speed of the game is like 800 times, way more reps, 800 times faster, and it's like bleep, like everyone's hurt. Again, this is no perfect science, but the Jets have hit a lot, and like 75, 80, 90 plays of the in the practice. That's a lot of plays, man. Like that's a full game script and they're condensing it into 2 hours. So like it's no joke. The green and white scrimmage was the most plays I've seen the Jets run in a 2-hour period in, I don't know, a really long time. Like it was nuts. I had some people be like, that was one of the most intense practices I've apart since I've been in the league. Like, so the point being, the Jets have gotten these reps in practice. They've gotten them in the joint practices. The Jets have done, their offensive line's gotten to play together. There's been a lot of Rodgers Wilson reps. There's been a lot of different reps between these guys. So for the Jets to go bring Aaron Rodgers out there and trot him out for like the theatrics of it, sure. And if it was maybe here's my question, I guess. Sorry, I'm host. I think I'm going to host and ask you a question.
Oh yeah, go. Yeah.
Rodgers played. Let's just say Rodgers would play Saturday night.
Sure.
We want to see him take a hit, but he gets leveled by a backup defensive end. Are you really that pumped that he got leveled? Like, probably not. You know what I mean? Like, is it really going to make you feel better to watch Rodgers get cleaned out in the pocket? Like, the last thing you want is him to get touched. So at the end of the day, like, what's the advantage there? He's going to get hit in San Francisco no matter what. Wouldn't you rather just prolong that a little bit? I don't know. The more I've sat on it, I just don't get the purpose of playing, honestly, any of these guys at this point.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Rodgers, when he was did his press earlier this week, he said, I got a bigger chance of getting hit in joint practice than preseason because there's no game plan. I'm not holding the ball, evaluating the entire field. It's quick throws. It's quick things. The only time he ever gets touched normally is when a Jihad Ward after a play gives him an extra shove that turns into a nice Hard Knocks clip.
Jihad
For
Ward,
that being
man.
said.
What a blast in the past. What's that guy doing these days?
Well, that's a good thing. I Googled it. Yes. I'm like, man, is he even on the Giants? He's on the Vikings, apparently. Yeah,
He's 30
I know.
years old.
Yeah, I thought he was a young guy. I thought he was just some young punk that just said, "Oh, I'm going to get my Rodgers mode." But apparently, he's much older than I thought. Yeah. So
wow.
Jihad Ward. Yeah.
Interesting. Dude, he's been on 6. Oh my God. Was I under a rock? Like, I think I know a lot of stuff.
Wait, what? Has he been on a lot of teams since the Giants?
He's on Baltimore, Indianapolis, the Giants, Oakland, and Jacksonville in the last 7 years.
Wow. Good Lord. What a journey. Man, Jihad Ward, we'll always remember you, pal.
Goat.
So, Will, you mentioned this a few times that your podcast is about to drop, and you've referenced this name, Zach. Are you referencing Zach Rosenblatt, your new teammate at Badlands? Is that who you're referencing?
Yeah, we traded for a nice 8th inning elite level arm to come in and set up Joe and it's Zach came on and kind of obviously promoted the pod, just talk about some of the joint practice stuff, and as I mentioned, kind of just Zach mentioned it a few times. He's like, this is the best I felt about the Jets all summer. I was leaving the day yesterday. And I think it's again, obviously you get caught up in a little bit of the hoopla and it's exciting when there's a bunch of big plays. It's easy to fall into that. But I truly do feel like Mike Williams is coming back and he's going to probably he'll be in team drills next week. I think that's extremely important. I'm not expecting a ton out of Mike Williams the first month of the season. I think he's a guy who, like, post bye week, you're like, stretch run, can we get big play 9-route Mike out of that? I think Brees is starting to really hit his stride. I think something I mentioned yesterday on the pod, and I guess I'm curious how you feel about this. Like, the Brees hype was the number one. I feel like outside of Rodgers was the number one topic of conversation from like February to July. It was like Brees Hall is the second best back in football and all that stuff. And he's had a really good camp, but because Braylon Allen and Garrett have both like had these big Twitter viral level plays, we haven't even talked about Brees enough. And like, he's just quietly dominating. It's pretty cool. I'm really excited for him. And I don't know. I feel pretty good about where they're at. I'd feel a lot better if Hassan Reddick was lining up opposite Jermaine Johnson, Javon Kinlaw, and Quinn Williams. But outside of that, you kind of feel like the safety rooms looked good so far. Again, that's their worst group. You're fine. The offensive line, something we always have talked about in camp. We haven't gotten those tweets of like, oh man, the Jets have run 6 offensive plays and they can't even snap the ball and tell Carl Lawson to like stop rushing because they can't get Zach a rep. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's been a different camp. It's not, and I'm sure for you feel the same way. Your show every morning hasn't been what 26 of the 65 undrafted free agents are going to make the roster. It's like what 3 guys are competing, what 50 guys are competing for 3 spots. Very different conversation.
There's no doubt about it. There's 1,000% a different conversation. Since you brought up Hassan Reddick, let's talk about it. And that's one for me that, as now we're getting to the goal line here, training camp ends this week. We have the joint practices behind us. We have the final preseason game. Cutdown day is Tuesday, coming up August 27th. Everyone's got to cut it down to 90 to 53. We have that weird kind of week off where there's nothing. And then the regular season's the following week. Rubber's meeting the road here. And the thing that will, I'm sure, annoy a lot of Jet fans is if this gets done in the middle of the season. I say middle of the season, not week 7. Like if the season starts and it gets done, a lot of us are going to be like, damn, why didn't you guys just buck up and get this done like right now? Because I think that's going to be the problem. Outside of it being some crazy ass thing, if it ends up being a very reasonable consolation of a 1-year deal for 17, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in that range, a lot of us are going to be like, damn, you guys couldn't have just done this weeks ago. So I guess I'll turn it to you, Will. What is your prediction for this? I heard Joe Caporoso of the Badlands family. I think he said something about after the game on Saturday night, they figure it out on the Sunday and then let's roll. That would be great. What's your prediction for this thing?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't feel I've been pretty positive about the situation the whole time. I felt like I don't feel great about it right now. I feel like he's pretty damn dug in, and I think the Jets are pretty damn dug in, and someone to take someone to cave. It's not that I don't think he'll play for the Jets this year. It's not that I don't think he'll like week 1, he won't be like playing in some sort or on the roster again. I'm a little bit worried from the aspect of if he doesn't sign and report by like this time next week, right before Labor Day, and they have that 4 or 5 days off, as you referenced.
Correct. Yep.
When's he practicing before he plays? Right? Because like and seriously, because like the NFL, I know like we kind of don't talk about it, but during camp, like there's a ramp up period of 3 or 4 days before you're in pads. Like you're in helmets for a couple of days. And we saw I feel like they've got a week to get this done before it starts impacting games. And then the problem is, let's just say he signs the Tuesday of week 1, right? That's 6 days before the opener.
Sure.
At some point, maybe he plays, but like barely on Monday night, which then means he's not even really full go for Tuesday or for the next week. And then it's a short week. Like, are you now waiting till week 4 to get a full Hassan Reddick game? Like, that sucks. At some point, I know the Jets are not going to want to cave. They don't want to set a precedent. They don't want to do all these different things. And I fully respect that and fully get it. And they feel like he lied to them, and he feels like they lied to him. Like they're all, I get all that. And there's a lot of beef. And hey, you knew we wanted an extension. Why didn't you give us an extension? Hey, you told us you'd come in and you have to practice first, which is so stupid. But that's another discussion. I guess my overall point is like, this has a week to get done before you start getting like, hey man, like they're not going to have him week 1. Like, and if they have him, it's not really Hassan Reddick essentially. Right. And like, it's just frustrating because again, I mentioned it, but then I'm sure you feel the same way. And I'm sure your listeners, the thousands and thousands and thousands of them that there are, that were probably like, dude, this guy's one of our 7 or 8 best players. We've had an awesome camp. Aaron Rodgers looks effing awesome. Garrett Wilson looks like he's going to take a leap. Breece Hall looks like he's going to take another leap. The offensive line looks good. The defense looks good. Sauce is going to be an all-pro again. Like Quinn's going to be like, everything's feeling good. And hey, we're not as nervous about Salah. We're nervous, but like he seems like he's kind of growing some balls again. And then you're just like, one of your best players at one of your most important positions is still not here. And the guy that's going to start in front of him isn't just Will McDonald, it's Michael Clemens. And that's a problem.
My boy.
And that's it. Yeah. And just like, it's great that Will McDonald had a nice, like, Panthers day, and he looks like he's kind of starting to put it together a little bit during camp. It's just, man, like, wouldn't you feel really good going into San Francisco knowing, hey, we have a full Hassan Reddick, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, 3 guys rushing the passer, like 60% of downs against Brock Purdy. And maybe Trent Williams isn't playing. And like the last time Reddick played against last couple times played against the Niners, like literally took Brock Purdy out of an NFC title game. Like it just would feel better. So I think there's a week where this can get done, where it doesn't impact games. After that, I think start to think like you're compromising yourself a little bit. And I kind of at this point feel like the Jets are going to have the ones to cave and say, fine, we'll talk. And like, if you're not going to, like, we'll talk with you and we'll have parameters before you show up, because until then, Reddick, I just feel like is so dug in. You know, when someone's just so dug in, there's nothing you can tell them. That's what it feels like right now with Reddick, whether it's his advice, his agent, I don't know, but he feels like this guy is like, I don't care. Like I'm just not reporting until you pay me.
Yeah, and it feels that way. So we're going to have to see what happens there from that perspective. But I'll ask you this one real quick, as we're going to let you out of here in a minute. So if this, let's say Hassan Reddick doesn't show up week 1, is does that transform into this big leverage point that if the Jets win without Hassan Reddick and their pass rush looks just dandy and they beat him convincing, I'm making it 24-10 and Brock Purdy's getting smacked around all over the place, the Jets win without him, is it like Hassan Reddick, like, oh Jesus, I gotta like crawl to one Jets drive to beg to get my job back? Or the opposite, Jets can't create a pass rush anymore, Brock Purdy has all day, picks apart the defense, then they win comfortably, the Jets go, okay, Hassan Reddick, I'm so sorry, let's figure this out. And Chris Jones it, because that's what happened last year. He didn't show up for week 1, Lions lose, and then boom, and they're like, all right, let's get his ass in. Yeah,
you basically answer with what I was going to answer and say we saw this last year. Like, and we've seen it in the past, but we saw it last year. Chris Jones, again, different situation. Chris Jones is like arguably a top 10 player in the whole league. And, he's been a Chief for life. Like I don't think there was any question he wasn't going to get paid. It was just true. If it was that year and how long he was only, he took it past week 1. Like that's really ballsy, man. But he knew it, and he's obviously well compensated.
That's for sure. Yeah.
But I think that like the Jets, and they're no different than pretty much any other franchise, pressure mounts quickly. And I just wonder like how much pressure starts to ramp up. There's that going to be like you've referenced it a couple times now. There's that period of 4 or 5 days where there's like nothing. This fan base in the best way possible, is very loud and very passionate, and the team knows very quickly how the fan base feels. When there's nothing else being talked about and there's nothing else really to talk about, like how much pressure starts to like sign this dude and get him on the field. We want to win. Because, man, starting 2-0 and coming back to MetLife Thursday night against a Patriots team that might be the worst team in the NFL is pretty damn tantalizing. And I just wonder how much pressure is going to mount. I do think the caveat here,
okay,
how much does Aaron Rodgers get involved here?
There were some flirtations I saw in his presser about maybe talking to him, and I'm like, boy, if I'm Reddick and all of a sudden Rodgers comes to me and says, let's go win a bleeping Super Bowl, I'm like, all right, let's go. Like maybe that could just to push get the locomotive in motion at the very least.
Just talking to Reddick. I think it's also Rodgers going up to his bosses and saying, hey, buddy, we need this guy.
I gave you $35 million. Use some of those shekels.
I give you $35 million back. You haven't traded for Devontae and you didn't sign Bryce Huff. Let's go, man. Like let's roll here again. I don't know. That's just my gut feeling of
not sure.
He's the only person probably outside of Joe Douglas and maybe Robert Saleh too that could get the Jets organization as a whole, ownership, GM, head coach, all in the same lockstep of like, go pay this dude. Rodgers has kind of stayed out of a lot of that stuff, as we've seen, right? Like it feels like Joe Douglas kind of ran the offseason. I would think that if Rodgers goes and says, hey, buddy, open the checkbook, let's roll. It's $5-6 million of cash. It sucks, but swallow your pride. Let's go win a damn Super Bowl. I think he could maybe move some needles. That and the fan base are the two people that I think could put the most pressure on the Johnsons, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, to get this thing taken care of.
Look at that, Will Parkinson, power to the people. That's going to rev the engine. There we go. Hey, Will, by the way, so I see a little scruff on your face, okay? You've had that forever. Have you ever thought about expanding, getting some girth on that thing?
Yeah.
Really kind of nurturing that.
Should I start doing pods like this? Hold on, see if I...
Yeah, let's go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See? Yeah, and then you have the beard coming out of the bottom. You ever thought about growing that beard thing?
Yeah, I did. I've grown it out. The longest I went is 3 months. Not shaving the beard when I broke my leg in college, and it wasn't Boy Green level, but it was, or Tyler Conklin level, but I would say it was like Michael Carter-ish level at the moment, where it's like pretty filled in, it gets filled in, it gets nice. I might try it. Maybe I'll go if the Jets win week 1. Maybe I just won't shave my face until they lose.
Okay,
which could be. This is a week, so if I don't know if they go to Buffalo undefeated, like, hey man.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't know Tom Hanks' Castaway, if it's going to be that long in February because of the Jets' unbelievable season. But
wow, they went 21. They went 20-0, and look at that.
Boom. See, there you go. Before we get you out of here, Will, again, you're doing so much, but try to plug as much as humanly possible if you can remember it all, or check the LinkedIn profile, perhaps. I don't know where you keep track of all these things, but what are all the shows you got going on, man?
Yeah, so there'll be a TOJ Pod episode out, TOJ Pod feed, like I said, in about 15-20 minutes here. Badlands, TOJ Talks, that's episode usually runs Saturday, and then TOJ is a couple days a week, and then all 32 NFL podcasts, me and Mike Giardi covering the entire league. We have AFC North, NFC North previews, and the weekend recap that'll be out early next week. We did did kind of the recap of the preseason game. So if you want to hear some Jets Panthers and talk about that, you'll see that. AFC East will be next week, so we'll have a lot to talk about there. It'll be good. Mike's awesome. I joked with him all the time. I feel like I was watching The Town the other day. He's like, "Oh, up in the AFC North," and I was like, well, "What am I doing?" Ben Affleck. Those are the main three things right now, as I mentioned, and mentioned. Zach Rosenblatt's joined us with Badlands for the audio version. So if you're subscribed to Badlands, it will not be behind a paywall. Zach's podcast, so that'll be on Thursdays. And again, just tune in and keep liking Boy Green's videos, subscribe, rate, review, get this guy his money.
Beautiful. Damn straight. Give me my money. We need Will Parkinson immediately as my agent. Actually, one last thing before we get you out of here. I don't know if you could give us anything of a taste. So I've seen Zach Rosenblatt and Tim McMaster's there for this new podcast world. They had like a quick little 2-minute video sort of talking about what it's all about. And you're dropping this interview with Zach Rosenblatt. What can fans expect? Is it simply the Can't Wait podcast, but a new name and a new place? Or is it something different? Because it kind of hinted at more segmented things and a new vision. It was kind of ominous. I'm not really sure what it's all about. Can you share any details on that?
I would say it's kind of a similar premise to what they've been doing, and obviously they've been doing a great job. I think a little more freedom, a little more personality in a sense. Zach talked a lot about how kind of a lot of what he's hearing, what he's seeing, etc. Kind of some of the silly, fun banter and things like that, and interactive nature that the pod had, but very much kind of trying to be a podcast. It's pretty unique. I talked with Zach a little bit about this yesterday on the pod, and you'll hear it, but I don't know too many other places where like there's this like group of fans, but also like it's a lot of impressive people in the network now, in a sense of like different forms of covering the NFL and covering the Jets as a job, and then also about talking about it as a fan. So Zach kind of being a part of the fan side of things and getting a glimpse into what the fans feel, but also being able to come back to them with, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing. I think we'll provide a nice audience for them, and I'm excited for them. I think they'll do a great job.
And one last nugget: are you Badlands there's gonna be rotational of Badlands guests popping in?
Yeah, so Zach, we'll be doing a lot of crossover stuff.
Great.
I'll very much be. Yeah, I'll make my rounds on the Can't Wait pod. Okay. Sorry, not Can't Wait pod. The Flight Plan pod.
That's okay. You get. We'll get a swear jar going. It's going to take a couple.
Plus, maybe you get to see Zach or Tim maybe drop a curse or two. We'll see. It's always fun when an F-bomb just rolls off the tongue at
that's true.
A pod.
Let it fly. Okay, here is the last one, and I promise it. Are you a season ticket holder, Will, for the Jets?
I am.
Okay. All right. So we've never met. Well, we've done like a cajillion shows together. We're going to be there week 3, Jets home opener, tailgate party. I'm sure you do your own thing, but we'll have to connect when that gets closer and see if we can meet for the first time.
We'll most definitely get a picture in week 3 in MetLife parking lot, and then we will get to recreate that picture in January when we have MetLife parking lot beers for a home playoff game.
That's what I'm talking about. Will Parkinson, thanks for joining us, brother, and we'll do this again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Keep crushing it. And, guys, like you said, make this guy his money.
Yeah. Give me my cash. Give me my money, baby. Will friggin' Parkinson, one of the best in the business. Make sure you check out his conversation with Zach Rosenblatt coming up here in a matter of minutes. The award-winning TOJ podcast. We'll stay on and we'll answer some of your calls and things because I've just opened up the phone lines. So feel free. Thank you to Will for giving us 30 minutes of his time. And that message now pinned on YouTube, youtube.com/boygreen25. If you guys would like to call into the show. This show will probably today only go to 8:30. We still got 28 minutes, so we got a jam-packed show coming up. I got a brand new intern I got to train at the radio station, so I believe we're going to have to get out of here at 8:30. So let's make the most of the next 27 minutes and change. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, and as Will Parkinson said, let's go. Let's get some memberships going. It's been a little stale on that front. Like the video, hit subscribe, and let's join the Boy Green Coffee Club, which you could do in the YouTube description down below. I saw a few people earlier said, geez, my membership ran out. People, it's $2.99 a month. So if you got a free membership and you enjoyed the journey and you liked it, then jump down below and join the membership yourself. Like I said, it's only $2.99 a month. You can help support the show, so feel free to do so, baby. That would be terrific. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Oh, boy. What a gift from the gods. Asketh, and you said, well, actually, before I do that, booyah, baby. Ed Vargas coming off the top rope with 10 juicy Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Yes, baby. Wow. Ed Vargas with 10 memberships. Pay it forward, people. Hopefully we can make it rain and have another one of those historic shows we had a couple weeks ago. Here are the new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Chris Bradigan, you're a member. Rock Bents 205. Vero Beach, New York Jets. Joe the Jet G. Mazel Tov, yes. Pastor Edwin Ramirez, the proverbial life. That is a mouthful. Ryan Desira. Let's see. Jenner G. I see her all the time on a Jake Asman show. Welcome to the family, baby. Hype. George Kandakai. And there are your 10 memberships. So welcome to the Army, baby, and pay it forward. And hopefully we can make it rain, baby, here on the show today. Without further ado, let's go back to the phone lines, or to the phone lines for the first time. My father, Eston Zone, joins us here on a Thursday, perhaps.
Yep. Good morning. Hey now. How's it going?
How you doing, Pop?
I'm doing great. Getting ready to leave on a jet plane out of Chicago, Illinois,
nice.
Back to the White Mountains here later on today.
Okay, I'm glad that the Eston Zone residents must be doing fine with a private jet. Nice. Okay, stock up, baby. Nice.
That's right. I wanted to say two things. One is
Sure.
I don't think Hassan Reddick would give a hoot if Aaron Rodgers blew him up. He actually would probably feel that he was breaking the solidarity, right?
The player code. That's a good point.
Right.
Yes.
So you're gonna call me. Yeah, you've made your money, Aaron. It's easy for you, sitting on top of Allstate Mountain with your discount double check to blow me up, right?
That's true.
So I don't think that would go over very well. Now, He could, if he's going to have influences, obviously he's the GM and offensive coordinator. He probably has some influence on the other side.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd have a lot of it. What is he going to say? That, Hassan Reddick would probably get pissed off. But anyway.
That's a good point. No, I just want to say real quick, I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes, someone brings up an idea, you're like, oh, well, great. And you don't, I think something you bring to the table, father, Eston Zone, dad, if I may, okay, is that one of your superpowers, you say that you do in your job every day, is that you believe you could see things from all sides. So that makes it a little bit easier when you could come to the table and see it. I think that's a good thing to have. So like I said, for that, I just said, in theory, well, that sounds great. And then you're like, well, this. And you're like, oh, geez, you're right. I didn't even see that as a possibility. It could totally piss him off. You're right to come over to him and say, hey, buddy, sack up and show up. And he's like, can we check our bank accounts real quick, buddy? Again, Hassan Reddick, I don't want people to cry for Hassan. He's made a lot of money, like $50 million in career earnings or whatever he's had. It's a lot of moolah, but still, there is a player code. But I believe, to your point, Aaron Rodgers would have a lot of influence as a guy who literally gave up $35 million guaranteed dollars. It's not going to take that many to bring Hassan Reddick in. That seems like a fair trade-off potentially, if that could kind of grease the wheels a little bit upstairs with the Jets front office. No, that's a good point. I just want to make sure we highlight that.
Yeah, right. Hassan Reddick's like, what? I'll introduce you to the darkness.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
So, I mean, right. Look at career earnings for the both of them, including endorsement deals that I'm pretty sure Hassan Reddick's not getting too many of.
Yeah, that's very fair.
He could probably leap through his nationwide, apparently one time Aaron Rodgers even worked at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, that's right.
But I also wanted to throw out there, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay. Wow.
I would like to switch my day this week to Sunday.
Okay.
Unless you have somebody lined up, and really,
I do not.
The post-game, the last preseason game recap. That seems like there'd be a lot of meat on that bone, so to speak, to talk some Jets. So,
okay, I am making that pivot. You know what? You mentioned people have sway, the head coach, offensive coordinator, things of that nature. You get a lot of sway here. So if I had someone, I'd cast him out into the streets, because you just have that kind of chutzpah around here. There's no question about it. So sure, you want Sunday, booyah. I've just written it into my schedule. I have a schedule here in paper. I'm a paper guy. I'm old school, I guess, from that perspective. So good. You have now pivoted. You are now on Sunday. And boy, that's a juicy one, because not only, sure, it's the preseason recap of Jets Giants. 2 days later is the ritual bloodletting, which is NFL cutdown day from 90 to 53. That is on Tuesday by 4 o'clock. Teams must do that. So that will be a potential preview, because I imagine this will be the last song and dance for a lot of people that are making their case to potentially make the roster.
Yeah, and I'll tell you just about that. I mean, that is going to be it's like the beer commercial, the most interesting day in the world. This would be the first time that it's going to be, hey, bring them all in. I was going to make a reference I will not make. But anyways, it's going to be bring them all in, right? And think about this. So if you're the Jets,
yeah,
if you're, the Joe Douglas,
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you, you get to your 53, but I bet you really get to your 50. And what I mean by that is I would have 1, 2, or 3 players that I would be willing to, depending on the 1,200 people that are going to become available on Tuesday. There's going to be somebody in that batch of 1,200 people that the Jets, maybe it's the offense, forward, defense, special team, there's going to be a player or two that they're like, hey, now, we've been waiting for that guy for a long time to be trotted out there. So you've got to have like, okay, well, we can let this guy go because we're probably can scrape him back on the practice squad, whatever it looks like. But I bet you they identify 1 to 3 players that they are willing to add to the bloodletting to scoop up somebody else they had their eye on for a long time. Because there's going to be a lot of talent let go immediately. And, they better have guys, come in late that day because they're going to be working all night scouring that wire.
Yeah, I feel so bad. We get to see Hard Knocks, although this version of Hard Knocks that I'm about to reference doesn't truly exist to this level anymore, but players celebrating, right? Because like it used to be, if I get the call, that's bad news normally. Like I as soon as we pass the time, in this case it's 4:00, but for the players and they had the cameras on them, if we pass this time, that's likely good news, right? And then you get the guy who pops up like, whoa, I've made it, baby! Your family, call this, that, or the other. 24 hours later, waivers as they go through, and anyone can claim them the next day. Like, yeah, you made the initial 53, not the final 53. I'm so sorry, you're out. It's just cold, man. It is the business. It is what it is. You're right. There is a handful of guys that, yeah, you're part of the group, sure. Whoa, like it's the meme of the guy walking the hand with the girl and going, oh, what's that over there? That's NFL teams, man. So 100%. I think the Jets, and particularly whether it's the Hassan Reddick thing or others, are going to have keen eyes on several key positional groups that, right, because again, they're a part, for people who don't know, on NFL teams, they're a part of their departments that their sole job is to study the rest of the NFL and their rosters and say, ooh, if these players at these positions ever became available, this is our power ranking of them so they can attack and move swiftly and smoothly. So there's no question about it. There will be an initial 53 and a few guys on the back end that you're like, oh, sorry.
Right. And it's always been a tiered approach, right? There was at one point, I think there was 3 cut down days.
90 to 75, 75 to 60, 60 to 53.
And so there was that little tweak and adjust. Somebody let somebody go. They scooped them up. They brought them in, whatever.
Correct.
But there's never been this. Right?
No, yeah. This is just a
every team is going. So
yeah.
What's the name? I can't remember. So I think the reason they let him stay at home is so there's not that thing in the locker room of the guy jumped up and down, the other guy, packing his shit. But what's the name? They had a name for that guy. I think the Turk.
Turk. That was Joe Douglas's job in the Hard Knocks of the year 2000, where he was on the Ravens. He was the guy that knocked on the door. I don't think they had tablets back then, so it must have just been playbook physically that he collected. I need your playbook. Come to the coach's office. And then the somber music playing in the background as they're just kind of shuffling along to the office. Yeah.
And by the way, with this, 40 people let down, does Saleh even, maybe just sends him a video chat? Sorry.
By the way,
is he going to do 40 people in a day? No.
Perhaps. Well, here's the thing that I think is super lame. I don't know if you saw this from the Giants. So they have Joe Shane. He's the general manager, and you have Brian Daboll. He's the head coach. Shane apparently just recently did a press conference, and he said he doesn't like firing people. So he said he lets Daboll do that since he's better at it. What a puss move, man. I don't mean to be that guy, but you're in a position of that kind of power and you don't like doing it. So you throw all the responsibility on the head coach to do all the talking in the room. You just kind of head nod. That's sort of weak, man. Right. I don't know if you heard that.
You got to be Ned Stark, right? You remember?
Yeah.
If you're going to sentence somebody to death, you better strap
wield the sword,
take care of yourself.
100%. So I thought that was really weak. So yeah, I guess that's a good point because it used to be a wave, so you would have a plan for 40 guys that are going to get their throat slit. I don't know if it's just right, like a murder line to hell.
Like the galley counter.
Yeah. Number 37. 37. Yeah. That's me, coach. You're out. Oh, geez.
And by the way, I'll tell you what. If the Turk or Jerk or Nurk or whatever that guy is, by the way, it's going to be a sadistic bastard. If he comes to my door, He's like, the coach needs to see you. You know what I said? I'm good.
I don't think that's
Respectfully,
an option.
I'm good. You know, right? Because what are you going to do?
Well, they've tricked him a few times, right?
What's that?
I said they've tricked him a few times, right? They brought Xavier Gibson, Jason Brownlee into the office, and they thought they were getting cut. And they said, and they started the conversation like, boy, it's been a great run, man. And the players were like, oh, man. And they're like, and the run will continue. It's like the Hell's Kitchen thing.
Yeah,
Gordon
that's
Ramsay.
your
dish
thing.
Is, yeah. Oh, so that's not a real thing, you don't think?
No, I don't think that's a hard knock thing that they did for the cameras.
Oh,
right?
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I hope so, because that's kind of dickish. Yeah.
And by the way, I would even more do that on Hard Knocks. Hey, bring your playbook. No, thanks. Here it is. Here's my iPad.
Oh, play it up. Oh, yeah, there you go. I guess you can be remembered forever. Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways, that Turk is, hey, I'll take that job. What?
Yeah. We weren't looking for volunteers. No. I got it. Yeah.
You're like that torture guy from House of Dragons or whatever.
I know.
But anyways, I just want to see that. I'd love to come on Sunday.
Yes.
Watch the game, do a breakdown. And I think it's really what we talked about before. It's really going to be, the final cut down, who we keeping for special teams.
Yep.
Which QB3 we keep. There's going to be some tweaking there. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of surprises. Well, the real surprise is who are those 1 to 3 players that don't know it?
Save that. Make sure you write that down somewhere, or tell your secretary on the private jet to put it in your notes for Sunday. That's a great. I hadn't even thought about it till you said it. Of like debating and discussing. Okay, we're gonna have an initial 53 here. Okay, which someone in this group, right? The group made it, and then we're all looking around. Well, someone's still got to die. Who's it going to be? And then we look around the room, and then everyone thinks, well, it's not me. Obviously, it's not me. Well, it's somebody. So save that in your notes. That's a good conversation for Sunday. And there we go. That's
everyone that has a job with the Jets, take one step forward. Not you, Boy Green.
Yeah, you're right. Nope.
Nope. What?
Yeah. No. Oh, boy. Yeah,
not you.
That's right. Yeah, so Sunday you're locked in, Pop. We'll see you on Sunday. That'll be great. Appreciate it. Thank you, Pop, for joining the show. Before we get to more phone calls, we'll get to all of you guys. It means a lot to see these messages for people that have been here a member for a month or more. We're getting these messages. Snowball jumps in, $2.99 a month. What costs less and gives more? That means the world. That helps keep the lights on, people. So if you're a fan of the show, you get some laughs, hopefully, whether you call in. Sometimes we talk about this in radio because I have a sports talk radio show to do after the show every day, Monday through Friday, is the people that call in and interact every day, they say it's the minority. It's the loud minority. The majority, 90% of your listeners just watch and never say a word, may never even go into the comment section. So what you can do, even if you don't want to talk or do anything on the show, you could still be a member that helps support the show. So Snowball saying $2.99 a month. What costs less and gives more? Zebo also using his member for a month shout out here. All true BG fans have a $2.99 membership in them. And yeah, let's make it rain, baby. So again, you can either gift memberships like Ed Vargas, that was 10, baby, terrific, or of course, you can join with your own membership in the YouTube description down below. Again, loyalty badge, unlocks emojis, plus gives you access to the Discord channel. I feel like that's the best value you could get here in YouTube membership land of getting the bang for your buck. So hopefully you guys can check that out. So shout out to Snowball and Zebo for using their members for a month message to share that love. That means a lot. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Up next, we got Hep here, baby. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul. A couple of things, quick things. One thing is, I think what Rodgers would say to Reddick is, dude, what are you thinking? What's your plan?
Mm-hmm.
What's the big plan, dude? I mean,
yeah. What's the end game here? Right.
Yeah, the end game. You don't want to sit out, dude. That's not gonna help you out. Like, what do you, just be a voice of like a veteran saying, hey, what's your plan?
That'd be good. And plus, hopefully, player to player, maybe that's a straight conversation. And then Rodgers can turn around and tell the team, hey, this is ultimately what he wants. Let's see. Yeah. And be that perfect negotiator between the mediary. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I was thinking about was that Saleh is taking a big interest in the offense this year.
Yes.
You remember, Saleh is a very good coach. You remember that Ulbrich, his first year, people wanted him out.
They did.
Remember? They weren't happy with him, and then I think Saleh got involved and said, "Hold it, I'm straightening this shit out. Let's get it." Got in there, So now that he's concentrating on the offense, I really think we're gonna see some stuff going on this year. And he's a good coach. He really is.
I love Sal a lot, man. He's an easy guy to root for. He's got this wonderful family, man. Like, I just wanted, and he hasn't had a quarterback this entire time we've judged him. And again, sometimes someone never does, and then that is how Arthur Smith is a great example in Atlanta. Never had a quarterback his whole time, and then he's judged on that. He never picked one. Sorry, you got to shit or get off the pot. He didn't. He gets let go. Salah finally, hopefully, in theory, gets his chance here with Rodgers. Like, let's evaluate him on that and see what kind of coach he is, because I think he's a good coach too.
Yeah, and both these Salah and Joe Douglas are learning. I mean, they've made mistakes, but they're getting better all the time. We're going to fire them and then have some other team pick them up right when they're polished. That would be like, you know what I mean? We polish them up, and like now there's some other team is using them.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, love you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Hep. Appreciate it. And we're looking forward to that song. You sending that in. I can't wait to play that for the good people. So, not to put any pressure. I mean, you got a lot of work to put into that, but we are excited for that. FL Phil 98, NFL Squid Game. It's sick. It is sadistic. But unfortunately, it's a reality of the business. It just is what it is from that point. There's no doubt about it, Phil. But good question. All right, let's go to up next. We got EZOC here on the channel. What's up, EZ?
I am doing great. How are you doing, Paulie?
Doing excellent, buddy. Good, great to see you as always.
I had some thoughts for the Jets offense.
Great. Please share. Yeah.
Okay, we have like a superior running back room.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are off the chain good. We've
like
got some really, really good wide receivers. And everything they do in the preseason is pretty much vanilla.
Yeah, no real game planning or anything.
They're not going to show anything. I think they're going to be running some 22 personnel.
Ooh, okay. I could see that. I could see a little more jumbo action. That would make a lot of sense.
Well, I'm talking about, you have 2 tight ends.
Yep.
And 2 running backs.
Right.
Yeah. Along with Salah. And they might even do full house. You put Yeboah back there in the backfield with Brees and Braylon, come on. What are you going to do, especially on like 3rd and 2?
Exactly, right.
You could have shit. I know this is ridiculous and people are going to totally bash me for this, but I would have loved to see them try with Yeboah as a fullback doing a wishbone. That'd be funny as shit.
It would be. Since they're game planning anyway, why not?
A wishbone. Just do something crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not a standard package. I'm just throwing shit out there because you know me, I just throw shit out there. But
I like that.
I think
someone's got to do it.
But I definitely think they're going to be running a lot of 22. A lot more than people think.
I think you're right.
They have I think Salah, remember, everybody forgets this. Salah's this great defensive coach and defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. When he played college, he was a tight end. Remember, he was an offensive player.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
He was a tight end. So he knows offense. It's not like Belichick did offense too before he went to defense. A lot of these guys. It's a common
misconception on Salah. I think a lot of people just go, what a boob, defensive nerd. That's all he knows. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with his involvement in the offense. Hep made some great points there.
I mean, the guy's a beast. I mean, he works out with the guys in the weight room. He runs the stairs in the stadium. I mean, he's one of those guys that leads by example. He's a great coach.
No doubt.
I think the fact that he didn't have a quarterback really hurt him, like worse than people will ever imagine. I mean,
you're right.
Belichick was kind of a journeyman coach. I mean, he was, with Parcells for years and years and years. Went to Cleveland, didn't do great in Cleveland. Went to the Patriots, didn't really do that great at the Patriots.
Was almost fired.
Yeah, and then Bledsoe got hurt, and they put in Brady, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, Belichick's a genius. Well, that was because Belichick didn't have to worry about the offense anymore. So that's when he went back to tweaking. He basically was a defensive coordinator, and the thing that surprises me is that younger coach, what the hell's his name? He stunk it up in Denver, and then he stunk it up with the Raiders. He was the offensive coordinator.
Yes, Josh McDaniels. Yeah, Josh.
I can't understand how Josh. I'm trying to defend Josh because I don't understand. He was so good at scripting offenses, or was it Brady?
Well, that's possible too, but I would say this, and I know it sometimes in my business. Some people are better behind the scenes. Some people are better in a singular role. Some people can't lead a room. And Josh McDaniels struggled with that twice. That Denver thing was a disaster. Vegas was a disaster behind the scenes. So, again, I just feel like some people are better in their role. Some people have good awareness of that and say, like, I'm a great OC. I'm never going to be a good head coach. I'll stay an OC the entire time. And some people don't. I think that's plain and simple what it is.
I mean, the Jets have groomed some really good coaches in their organization. I mean, we get, Pete was a great defensive coordinator, and the only reason he lost his job was because I'm having a mental moment here. What's his name? Who went 1-15? He was dating Leon Hess's daughter, Kotite.
Oh yeah, Kotite. Yes.
So when they I'm trying to remember his last name. Pete, the guy, the Seattle coach.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll was our defensive coordinator, and then that first year he was made head coach, and I think we went like 5-something.
Yeah.
And they fired him. That was only his first year.
Yeah, I know.
And so I mean, we've had some good coaches on our team. So I mean, the guy down in Tampa Bay, I'm really not remembering names today. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take my Prevagen or something. But he was pretty bad as our head coach, and now I think he's finally learned and turned it around.
Yes.
Who's the guy that always looks like he has this smirky smile? The head coach with the big cheeks.
The big cheeks.
You know who I'm talking about. He's got the big cheeks over here. Yeah. Always has this. God, what is his name?
Can you give any other descriptor besides cheeks?
He's African American.
Oh, Todd Bowles.
He was Todd Bowles. He's.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
shout out to Jared B, who interpreted that.
Right. He's finally really coming into his own. How about this? The fact that we have kept Saleh and the continuity is actually helping rather than cutting bait and running after 2-3 years. Sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, but look at the teams that have been successful over the long term. For the longest time, the Cowboys only had one head coach. They had Tom Landry.
That's
forever.
True. Yeah.
Forever. Tex Schramm was never going to fire him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tex Schramm sold the team to Jones.
Jerry Jones.
And then first unceremoniously. I mean,
yeah,
Jesus.
That's really sad. I mean, Tom Landry's one of the legends of the game, for Pete's sake.
The man with the funny hat.
Yeah, the man with the fedora.
Actually, if you look at the Ring of Honor in AT&T Stadium, it says Tom Landry has a picture of the hat.
I love that. That's so cool.
I love it too. Yeah, he always dressed like a gentleman. He was a New York Giants defensive back.
That's cool.
Tom Landry.
Wow.
I don't remember whether he was a corner or a safety, but he was a Giant, New York Giant for years.
And then became a legend with the Cowboys. Go figure. That's absolutely wild. That's wild.
I can remember when I was in junior high school, there were like 3 or 4 seasons where the Jets went 7-7, and it was all due to Joe Namath playing. Yeah. They had nothing for those seasons. Yeah. But I'm going to leave room for other people. B-Mac's got to be on, and maybe C-Mac, and maybe D-Mac, and E-Mac, and F-Mac, and whatever.
Who knows?
I think they're the same guy. I think it's one guy, and and he's got personality disorder where he flips, and the one guy stutters, and the other guy doesn't,
know, man.
and has more of an mean edge to him. But which one's the evil one?
Well, that I don't know. We'll have to continue to discover that with other.
Kind of sounds like C-Mac's the evil one.
Yeah, he does have a deeper voice. Yeah.
We'll like I said, it could be the same guy, and he just has like a mental glitch, and he flips back and forth like the 3 faces of Eve or something.
Okay,
I'm just teasing you, B-Mac. Just teasing you, bro.
Of course. I appreciate it, Easy. Thanks for the call, brother. And shout out. I see Genergy's in the chat, the latest member to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Good morning. Thanks for the membership and welcome as a part of the family. Genergy, baby. I see you all the time on the Jake Hasman show, so it's great to have you over here, Genergy. No doubt about it. So thanks for becoming a part of the family. And thank you to Ed Vargas, who gifted 10 memberships right off the top rope today. So that was terrific. So thank you to Genergy, who is now in here. All right, we got one more call to take, and I got to head over to the radio station. So sometimes we go an hour and a half here. It kind of depends. Let's get to B. Shaw here on the program. What's up, brother?
Hey, Paul. I know you said you needed to be out by 8:30. So
no, that's all right. We can do this call, and I'll be out. My intern will be a little lesser. That's all right. Less time. He'll figure it out.
I hear you. Well, I just was curious if you know. Sorry, the sun's in the way.
No, that's all right.
What other teams? Because we haven't played like basically any of our starters the past two games, correct?
Right, outside of Joe Tippmann. He's really the only one. Again, I don't really count Michael Clemens. He's part of a rotation. The only real one is Joe Tippmann.
Okay. You know, I'm one of those. I would like to see everybody go in for a drive. I know that's not the popular opinion in the chat, but that's something I would like to see.
Okay.
Just curious, though, like out of the other 32 teams, has everybody else pretty much started their quarterback?
That's a good study, or I'll have to kind of look around to see if someone has already done that for me, or I'll do it myself. But I know there have been plenty that have. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, off the top of my head. There's been plenty that have played their guys significantly, either for full quarters, full halves, all kinds of crazy action. So I know there's people on both sides. I know there's some people that haven't touched anything, so no starters ever touched it. There's Joe Burrow. He's another one who's gotten some action this preseason. So I know there are some that have. There's some that completely haven't. And I'm not sure about all the in-between teams of like, a drive or like a quarter or something. Like that I'll have to double check. But yeah, there has been varying opinions. No question.
All right. Well, like I said, I'll be fine if we don't. I don't know. It's just something. Maybe it's just me being selfish, and I'm like ready for football. I went and watched my little cousin play the other night, so I'm like pumped for the football season. And I'm like, but that being said, me being selfish, I don't also want to see somebody get hurt, like
of course,
Garrett Wilson, Rodgers or somebody. But anyway,
and we've done such a great job to this point. Again, knock on all the wood that is near anybody. Yeah. The injuries have been terrific. We got through a big one yesterday, which is a super intense practice with another team. That's where injuries can happen. And I think Will Parkinson said the Jets have one more big practice Friday. You have the game Saturday. And then that's basically it until week one in terms of the intensity stuff. So, yeah, we are through the thick of it.
Yeah, we've definitely been blessed on the injury side so far. Just keep our fingers crossed and all that.
Damn straight.
And be praying. And also, speaking of praying, I'll be praying for my boy, Jared B. I know he's been recovering. I don't know. Did he have surgery or?
He did. Yeah, he had as he described it, I believe, non-invasive, but they did something back there to his back. And again, while he seemingly has handled it like a trooper in comments, I just know surgery, man, and that can be scary. So 100%. He's our moderator. He's there in the Discord. He's never called in. I see people trying to peer pressure him to call in at some point in the future. That's up to him. But whether he calls in or not, the only thing I would say is, to your point, let's send all our love to that guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, anything with back.
Sorry, Brandon, we lost you there. Your signal broke up. Let me see if I can get you back up. Bisha, you there? No. All right, we lost you. Sorry, Bisha, we lost you. They must have gone through an Arkansas tunnel, perhaps, that must have hit you there. But either way, I appreciate the sentiment, Brandon. There's no question about it. Jerby deserves all our love. He's a great dude, man, and the man behind the scenes that makes all this happen. So shout out to him. Thanks to the 400 people that are in the room. Thank you so much to Ed Vargas for gifting 10 memberships. That is awesome. Welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club, everybody. Again, you get a loyalty badge. You get, of course, all the emojis that are unlocked, the custom emojis. We're probably another, I'll have to check after the show, after Ed Vargas's 10 gets accounted for, where we're at from another emoji. I think we're another 30-ish away, 25, 30-ish away. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. We'll be back on live coming up at 2 o'clock. It'll be myself. It'll be James Woody and John Schmelk, who works for the New York Giants. He's their television host. He's their radio host. He's a big-time guy. He'll be joining us live at 2 o'clock. Special start time again, 2 o'clock. Me, Woody, John Schmelk, talking all things Jets, Giants, this preseason game, the joint practice that happened, and all that jazz. So make sure you guys tune back in again at 2 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe. Those are the free ways to contribute, and join the Boy Green Coffee Club, which you can always do in the YouTube description down below. You should be able to do that, whether you're on iPhone, Android, or anything. It should be very easy to click down below and join immediately. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you back again at 2 o'clock with our Giants insider, John Schmelk. Looking forward to it. Peace out, everybody.